Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at the Seiko Samurai. This is a special edition. This is the SRPC93. MSRP on this is $525, but you can find them for $300, $320, somewhere around there. Just search around on the web. So anyway, this has the special edition dial, the blue wave or blue whale dial. It has a gradient dial that goes from black to a very nice blue color here. Also, the bezel is blackened as well as the crown. This is the only Samurai in my collection. I have not worn it all that much. As far as Seiko, my favorite Seiko is the SKX, so that tends to spend a lot more time on my wrist. I never had one of these, so I wanted to pick one up and experience it, but it's not for me, I guess. It's a little bit too big for my liking. So this does have hard luxe crystal, as almost all your Seiko dive watches. It has the 4R35 movement, which is very similar to the 4R36, just that this is date only. So it's automatic, hand winding, hacking, and beats at 46 beats per second. So let's unscrew this crown here. So first position here is hand winding. You're winding up the mainspring to provide more power reserve. This one lines up fairly well, actually quite well. No complaints there with the alignment of the bezel to the chapter ring to the indice. Next position will be, oops, I missed it there. Should be date set. There we go. And then the third position out is your time setting position. And if you notice, the second hand has stopped, so that is hacking. This case is very angular. A lot of sharp edges. The only real smooth edge on this case is this portion right here, in between these two lugs. This one is nicknamed the Samurai. It does have drilled lugs. It has solid end links, solid links. The clasp here is a stamped clasp, which is fine with me. I don't see any issues with the stamped clasp. You have 4 micro adjust on this clasp. And also it does have a dive extension here. Let's see if I can demonstrate that. These are a little tricky to, at least for me, they're a little bit tricky to get out of here. Yeah, sure there's a trick to it, just not doing it right, but there is a dive extension here. We'll just leave that in there, but you can see it here. As you can tell, I never use it. I'm not a diver. I think the deepest I go with the watch is about 4 feet to the bottom of a pool, or maybe 10 feet, depending on the swimming pool. But very angular lugs here, as I mentioned. And it does have a nice bracelet, but my issue with the bracelet is it has a fixed center link, so that extends the lug to lug even farther out. This watch actually goes beyond my wristband, which we'll show in a moment here. Nice thing about this watch, though, is it is an actual 200-meter divers rated watch for 200 meter. It follows the ISO standards. So you'll know that this won't have any issues going down to 200 meter, as long as you don't, modify it, put aftermarket crystal or any of that kind of stuff. Leave it all factory and it will work just fine. So the dimensions on this, lug to lug, 48.2. Case diameter is 44. thickness on it is 13 millimeter thick, and lug width is 22. And as I mentioned earlier, it has this fixed center link. So if you measure from in between both of my thumbs here, it measures out to be 53 millimeter. Crown is nice and easy to access at the 3 o'clock position. And this is a 7 millimeter crown, protected by those crown guards. It does protrude out maybe a little bit far, but it's okay. I haven't had any issues with it on wrist. Not that I've worn it all that much. So they do call it a special edition, but I don't think it's really limited. And then the bezel measures at 43.7 millimeter. So let's get this on wrist, and then we'll look at the loom at the end of the video. If you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this watch. I think it's a tad bit big for my wrist. Actually, I'll show it next to my SKX over here for size reference. Here we are zoomed out. All right, let's zoom back in and we will check this out side by side with my Seiko SKX009. And we'll look at the loom for both of these side by side as well. Let me give the SKX a shake, get that second hand moving. This does have an aftermarket sapphire crystal. I scratched up the hardlux many years ago. So we'll be right back with the loom. All right, so on the left here we have the SRPC93 versus the SKX009 on the right. When I hit this with the UV light, the Samurai on the left had more of a bluish tint to the loom versus the greenish tint on the right. But definitely you can see the Samurai has a better loom here. But both of these have very good loom. The Samurai just has better loom. Really like the monster hands, or the, I'll call them monster hands on the Samurai here. So let me know which of these two you would choose. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.